quantity is fine, quality is more important, right? You'd rather make one extremely good blog per month than try to do one a day, right?
Mm.
So, or even one a week. You really want to focus on the quality of it because a lot of people are spitting out very mediocre blogs, especially with AI, right? Where you can just ask ChatGPT to create a blog about moving to, and they're all going to really kind of look the same.
All right, folks, we got a good one for you today, right? This is a topic, that I hear in the industry a lot. There's a lot of misinformation on this topic of SEO for real estate. So I'm bringing you guys a practitioner, someone that is in the trenches, having these discussions, getting results for their clients in this space. And very knowledgeable guy, honestly. I found Phillip in one of the forums, right? One of the big Facebook groups, and he was just dropping these value bombs, like carpet bombing this forum with really good information. And I can usually spot someone that knows what they're talking about when it comes to real estate tech and marketing and the tools and everything. So that's how I met Phillip and got familiar with him. And I've been very impressed because he runs a really tight ship and he definitely knows what he's talking about. And I love having people here in the group that know what they're talking about. That's very useful. We get a little bit too much. We're all marketers. We get a little bit too much marketing speak sometimes, and a little bit too much headline reading when some of these technologies come up. So I love bringing people into the group that kind of have like a ground level in the trench kind of perspective on this, and both on the pros and cons, right? If someone can describe a technology, a marketing strategy in terms of pros and cons, I don't think that's a sales pitch, right? It's not a discussion. So this is a discussion. This is a discussion here with Phillip. Phillip, why don't you introduce yourself to the group?
Sure.
Let people know a little bit about yourself and how did you get into this crazy world of real estate marketing online?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my name is Philip Pasma. I am the owner of a digital marketing agency called Asterisk Marketing, and we help real estate agents generate leads mainly through pay-per-click and SEO, and a couple other services in there as well. And I mean, I've been doing digital marketing for the last 10, 15 years. And about 5, 6 years ago, I met a real estate agent through a company I was working with and started working with them, doing SEO, had a lot of success. And then they, through Facebook forums, which we all love, started referring me out. And that's just how we grew naturally, just getting referrals after referrals after referrals. And that has built us our clientele today. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Love it. Love it. Also, a huge fan of the Blue Jays as well, right? Baseball.
Yeah, big fan of the Blue Jays. Anything Toronto. I'm in Canada,
so love that. Great. And so you've been in the business for a while, Phillip, and I think when people mention SEO, I'm going to lay out the conventional wisdom, the current thinking of SEO. And I want you to poke holes in that, if you will. The typical real estate agent says, I missed that boat. I should have bought beachfront property. And who's the founder of Real Geeks? I forget the guy's name. Really cool
Jeff
guy.
Manson.
Jeff Manson. So Jeff is like, he bought, HawaiiCondos.com, or was it San Diego Condos.com?
He was based in Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah, he was based in Hawaii. So he bought like a really great domain name and he built out all these blogs, did a lot of work, a decade ago or more, 15 years ago. Right. And they're like, and according to Jeff, he would get 100 deals a year from that website. No ads. There's 100 transactions a year. This is Jeff, right? And we were like, oh, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have bought beachfront property, in Maui, when it was still, a kingdom, right? Before America got there. Would have been great, but oh well, I have to toil with the reality of today. That's a typical feeling I get from agents when they consider SEO, they talk about SEO. We missed that boat. That was 08, 09, 07, that would have been great to do it. That property, that beachfront property in Maui has been taken. There's no room left. Phillip, what do you think about that?
Yeah, we do hear that a lot too. And that's a funny thing about the domain. We get that all the time. Agents coming to us and being like, hey, should I buy this domain, homes for sale in Texas or whatever? And it's like, so the domain actually has very little impact on how you rank, right? And just having a domain will not help you. You need to actually have a website attached to it. You need to have content, a good UX, backlink, so on and so forth. So that's the domain question we get a ton.
Oh yeah, and they
But
want a .com. Oh, I got this, but it's not a .com. Damn you
yeah,
.com.
like
Yeah,
people have
I
like
think
20
it's
domains and they just sit there and you're paying what, $10 each, which is fine, but you're not really using them for anything. So I don't get the
squatty.
point, but whatever. Um, and yeah, I mean, obviously it was easier back 20 years ago, right? When very little websites were doing it, you could stuff your website with keywords and you would start ranking. So it is a lot different today. Have you missed the boat? No. I mean, you could say that about a lot of things, right? People say that about YouTube. People say that
Pay per
about
click. Pay per
pay per
click's been
click,
around for 2 decades. Pay
right?
per
Like,
click is
have
a
I missed the
20-year
boat?
old technology, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's certainly something you can start now and still be very successful. The thing about SEO is it takes time. It's not like pay per click where you turn it on, leads, traffic start coming in the next day. It could take 6, 8, 12, 2 years really, really to get going. And obviously that depends on what you consider as getting going. But it does take time. It is competitive. There are giants out there like Zillow, Realtor, all those kind of things, and that's what we hear as well.
100%.
But they are, I'm getting a little bit technical here, but they really focus on like homes for sale in New York, right?
They
These
own
big money
those.
keywords.
They own it. They're like,
They
that's
own it.
theirs.
We're not going to compete in that space, right? Unless you're ready to sink millions of dollars and time, energy, all that kind of stuff. But you can still compete for these long tail keywords, which are like very specific ones. So like 3-bedroom beachfront property, or a keyword we ranked really well for one of our clients is 1 acreage homes in Fort Worth. I think we were top 3.
Oh,
So there's a little bit different strategies, blog content, right? Best home or best neighborhoods in a guide, the definitive guide to moving to, right? These kind of keywords, these big players aren't going after. It's just other local agents. So you can certainly rank for them and do very well. And then, of course, there's also Google Business, right? Ranking for real estate agent near me, that type of thing, which is
so
part of your website, right?
let's open up a little parenthesis there, because I think the first part of it, people kind of understand that, right? They get the keywords and the targeting that. You mentioned, Google My Business, right? So less agents are familiar with that, which always surprises me. Less agents are familiar with Google My Business, and that you can optimize that, right?
Yeah.
That there's some and there's a whole industry around that, like optimizing people's Google My Business profile. Can you tell a little bit about what that means? Because I think people understand the website piece, the keywords, doing it the right way. At least at a very high level, that's what people think about SEO. But how does Google My Business come into play, and how do you tweak and make that perform for real estate?
For sure, for sure. So there's definitely more involved in a website in terms of what you can do. But Google Business Profile, which formerly Google My Business. So there is certain things you can do, and there's actually more than what you may think, right? It's more than just getting reviews, which is very, very important. But there's actually filling out your profile 100%, which most people don't actually do,
To be
right?
honest, yeah, no, people don't do that, right? There's a lot of
Right.
things you
There's
get in there.
there's
There's a lot of stuff you can add in there.
there's really some actually unique things you can do. There's obviously there's photos you can do, there's the description, there's Q&A on there that actually you can ask and answer, which can help fill it out. There's a product section, which a lot of people think is for e-commerce, which probably originally it was, but you can actually put like a buyer's guide or a seller's guide or your listings on there. There's posts that you can do weekly that can help, much like Facebook or Twitter or X, I guess. There is now, just recently, actually, you can add in social media links. So before, Google would just crawl it and maybe they take it, maybe they don't. Now you can put those in. Obviously, response rate to people who call is part of that. There's services that you can add with descriptions underneath them. So there's a whole host of things you can do. And then it also takes in consideration your website. So do you have those keywords on your website? Do you have local citations, which is your name, address, phone number on other websites? Are you getting local links? So link building from like a local website. chambers of commerce. Those kind of things can all play into how you rank on Google Business, which is amazing for those leads for real estate agent near me, listing agent, those type of things.
Gotcha. And when we're talking about ranking, Philip, is it on the regular Google search page? Are we talking about maps, or is it all the same?
Yeah. So it's so typically when we say rank, we're talking for Google Business about the map pack. So there's 3 that show up right away. So usually you have your local service ads, then you may have your search ads, and then your map pack. And those are the top 3. You really want to be in those 3. And then you have to click more to see more real estate agents. Another little tidbit too is putting like real estate or realtor in your profile name, which keywords in your name can help.
Love it. In your name within the profile, in the business profile.
Right. Some people can get a little bit like there's some gray areas where people will actually put in like real estate agent in Boca Raton or something like that. It's a little bit of gray area with real estate agents. Other businesses, it's pretty cut and dry, but agents, it seems to be all over the place.
I gotcha. Love it. And so there's work you can do to organically rank with Google with the business profile, and you can do ads as well. You mentioned it a second ago, right? Local service ads. How do you position one versus the other? What's the difference? What would you tell folks? Oh, is it like SEO and pay per click, or what? How do you, because there's an ad product just for these profiles too, right? Which is different than pay per click. Can you talk a little bit about that? How would you compare and contrast organic business profile, organic business profile, ads for business profile, organic SEO, ads for page rank? How would you compare those two?
Yeah. So there's definitely pros and cons about both of them. So LSA is an interesting one. So to me, it makes like everybody should run local service ads, right? There's not a lot of good reasons not to run it because it's a pay per lead program, right? So it's 100%. Google screened. It does help if you have a good Google business profile as well, and similar things in terms of reviews help and response rate. But those you 100% because those show up very first. And again, if you're in the top 3, that's the best. But you are only paying per lead. So
I love that.
So it's really great. And then you have your search ads underneath that. So you can also run search ads for real estate agent near me, realtor near me, all that kind of stuff. And you need to have a very healthy budget for that. I would say a few grand a month.
Wow.
Because those keywords are expensive. They could be $20, $30, $40 a click. And that's not a lead, right? Like local service ads. And then underneath that is the Google business profile, which those are free, right? I mean, obviously they're going to cost you in terms of time and money. Not cost you, sorry. It's an investment of time and money. But then if someone clicks on your profile 100 times, it doesn't cost you anything.
Love that. It's like, it's like the promised land. Oh, wow. Free leads from Google.
Yeah. I mean,
and they tend to be, I use Google business profiles all the time, and I only call them if I'm, I tend to be very high intent when I click that button. Intent. Like click that little phone icon, boom, I want to talk, I want to set an appointment. I want to come in today, right? I want to do this, I want to do that. So that, as a user of that tool, I'm like, that's money calling on the phone, right?
100%. And then I guess one good thing about pay-per-click, the search ads, is you can actually just keep dumping money into it to show up, right? So with LSA, there's a bunch of things involved in it. With pay-per-click, if you were to go after those keywords, which again, you need to have a fairly decent budget, you can just keep bidding higher and higher and you will show up more and more. So that one is a little bit easier to control, in my opinion.
Got it. And Philip, relative costs. You mentioned if you want to target the really, really sexy keywords of agent now, list my home now. I mean, those are, everyone wants those, right? Hence, the prices are through the roof. How do those like high value, high competition keywords compare to, let's say, more like longer tail keywords and Google LSA? What? Because it's pay per lead, it's great, but how does the cost per lead compare? How would you explain it to an agent, right? Cost wise, because those LSA leads are great, and you only pay per lead. But what would that cost compare to a pay-per-click campaign?
Yeah. I think it's actually similar to, I mean, it's I would say like 50, 60, 70, $80 a lead on local service ads, whereas again, pay per click is that's almost as much as a click. It's probably less, it's less than that, but it's the same kind of thing. The challenge that people run into with local service ads is it's very hard to scale it.
Mm.
Right? You cannot just, it's very rare where you just say, I'm going to up my budget and I'm going to get 10 more leads this month. Whereas with pay per click, much easier to do that, especially if you're going after buyers, which also many are sellers. A lot of them are sellers, but going after homes for sale in, right? Those type of keywords are going to be $1 a click. Maybe it's like $10, $15 a lead. Very easy to scale.
I got it. That totally makes sense. And I love that because those Google, let's say, leads, again, I would also assume that they're very high intent. They're like, hey, phone, click on that phone. Boom, let's call this person. Let's talk to them. 60, 70, $80 for one of those. To me, right? Because I know what Zillow charges for that, and I know what Realtor.com charges for that.
Yeah.
How they charge 35% of the commission, 40% of the commission for the really good ones, right? So
exactly.
$80 is like what? But you bring a really interesting point, right? You can't just go, oh, give me more. I think that's really challenging. And even more questions are popping up in my head because I know, I'm being here in the place of the audience, right? I'm representing them. Because a lot of agents they struggle with these concepts, right? The differentiation, cost benefit of these things. If we're talking about purely Google LSA versus Google pay per click, what helps you if you can't scale it up? Let's say you people tend to plateau. I guess is kind of what you're saying. They tend to plateau on Google LSA.
Highly competitive.
It's very competitive, and there's only so many leads coming out, and then there's more advertisers, more people will get it. What helps you get a bigger share of those? What are just making sure you fill out that full profile? What are the things you see agents do? What do you recommend agents do to really get your unfair share of those 5, 10, 15, 20 leads every week, every month?
Yeah, LSA's it's a harder one. There are some strategies you can do. So obviously, again, we go back to the reviews, right? That's a big one, getting many reviews as possible. What really Google likes to is response rate, right? So they are going to rank people the highest who respond to every call coming in because that's going to make a better user experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are pretty good at that, but they don't get the chance to get enough leads to kind of build that rapport with Google. So one of the things you can do is actually click off more services than you normally would take on, right? There's services that you can check off. So maybe expand those. Also expanding your area. So you can expand maybe it's not a city you normally take or a zip code. So you can keep expanding it so you can get more leads. We actually, with one of our clients, we went as far as adding the entire state to try to boost the number of leads we were getting because we weren't getting enough. And then we got a flood of leads coming in, ended up just referring out a bunch of those. And then we closed it back up again. And we still maintained we got back our position. And we're able to get in a lot of leads again because we were able to build this rapport with Google. You want to also use there's an app that you can use. So you want to use that app as much as possible, filling in information about leads and again, requesting reviews and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. I love that. Yeah, because the business profile, let's say, it's kind of its own kind of beast. But I want to take a step back. Let's go back to the meteor topic, which is SEO.
Right.
One of the things agents struggle with, Philip, for example, between Google pay per click and like Facebook leads, which is one that I'm much more well versed in. One of the advantages Facebook leads, that whole system, the whole experience, is you kind of don't need a website with Facebook leads. A lot of agents run these. They have a business page, which takes you like an hour to put together a halfway decent one. And they put in their credit card and kind of click go, right? So it can be a very, it's all contained within platform. Whereas Google, Google pay per click, and Google SEO, obviously you need a website. You got to build that out. You got to create that. It's either going to be optimized for SEO or optimized for these pay per click leads to have an experience there, or both. probably, right? So
Hopefully.
when people come to you, is it they're like, you know what? I want the Google leads, and they don't have anything, or and you guys build 100% out for them. What does that even look like for an agent that, let's say, they want to maximize both of these strategies, because it's different than Facebook. With Facebook, you don't even need a website, and there's a
Right.
lot more implications to that. That's not just, oh, it's so easy. It's a big difference when they don't go to a website. It's a very big
Right.
difference on the quality of lead, the responsiveness of these leads. Nothing scares me more than someone generating $1 leads off Facebook with instant forms, instant responses, like enabled, right? Like,
Mm,
oh, half the people here don't even know to click that, right? They have no clue what information they gave you. That's what it kind of screams out to me. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but it is a big difference. How do you tackle that problem for your clients when they might have a website from like 8 years ago that they haven't touched, and they want to enable SEO, they want to invest in pay-per-click?
yeah, that's a good question. And we get that a lot too. People come with us with all different websites. Most people have a website, but some it's just, yeah, it's some platform I've never heard of, or maybe it's just like a WordPress website, which some of those are fine, but there is a big difference, especially when it comes to, well, both pay-per-click and SEO really, high performing websites. So we have found certain platforms perform better when it comes to PPC. And typically, when I talk about PPC and leads, I'm usually talking about buyer leads who are coming in, homes for sale, that type of thing,
You
right?
want homes. You want to see homes.
Yeah,
Show
I
me the
mean,
homes.
everybody,
Gimme, gimme, gimme.
if we go back to LSA and all that kind of stuff, it's like there's not that many people who type in real estate agent. Everybody types in homes for sale. Everybody wants to look at homes. Sellers want to look at homes. Buyers obviously want to look at homes. Your neighbor wants to look at homes. So
And agents, if they're watching this, right? Don't be hurt. We're not here to hurt your feelings. The clients, they don't care about the agent at this stage of the process. They don't care about the agent at this stage. They don't care. Could not care less. Because all sellers, I tell folks all this time, all sellers are buyers first. No one wakes up wanting to sell. Oh, it's a good day to sell my home. No, they want the next property. That's why
exactly, you
the
dream,
the selling is you're selling
you
them on the
plan.
vacation, right? The vacation. No one puts advertisements about standing in line in security at the airport, right? That's selling the home. That's the process. The being on the beach in Maui is a destination, which is the new home.
Right.
That's really where it all starts, right?
It's the fun part of finding the new home. I don't know if selling is the funnest part. I mean, maybe to some it is, but it's looking at that new house, picturing yourself in it, all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's so successful and so many people do it. Um, so yeah, going back, so the website does have a huge difference. How it looks, the user, like the lead capture, right? Because that's how we capture the lead. Something pops up, you click on a home, it says continue my search. That, how it is laid out, what it says on it, all of these things play a very, very important role in how many leads you're going to get, your conversion rate, and then ultimately your ROI. So again, that's from pay per click, and that's also for SEO. So we found platforms um, like Real Geeks, Chime, Sierra Interactive. Typically, we call those like our big three because those we have found to be most successful when it comes to pay per click. In terms of SEO, I would say Sierra is probably one of the best platforms. WordPress you can do really well also, but Sierra is a little bit better for conversion rate. You're not using like the plugins, which are not that great.
And what sets the big three apart from the rest of it? Because Boomtown,
I mean,
Sync, and all these, there's a million CRMs, Follow Up Boss, and all these things. What sets these platforms apart? What do they do really well that makes them better PPC platforms? What do you think?
yeah. So I guess, yeah, Follow Up Boss doesn't have a website, so that one's obviously its own. Sync and Boomtown, those actually are not bad either, but those are more closed off platforms, from my understanding. I don't know if it's Sync or Boomtown. Um, One of them, I think, Sync, you have to go with their company to run ads. I'm fairly certain. Boomtown, I think you might have
I think
access
they
to.
blend it all in. You're right. I think they
I
do.
think they blend it.
They're like they sell it. You kind of buy both. I think that's Sync. You kind of buy both with them. So yeah.
Yeah, so I can't really comment too much on those because I don't really have experience running with them. But the kind of those big three, they're a lot different than like KV Core. We get a lot of people who have KV Core or like iHouse Web, I think, is one other one. Um, and the Agent Image, Agent Fire. I think those are two other ones. But honestly, it's how the properties look. It's the grid layout. It's the lead capture. It's having like that inherent trust that someone, when they click on the lead capture, they're willing to put in their information. So it's just a combination of things that allows more visitors to fill out their information, which results in more leads at a lower cost per lead.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So they've really nailed that flow. They understand it. They know the lead source it's coming. It's an ID, kind of an IDX experience. People are coming in off of Google. They're looking for homes.
Yep.
Give them homes. Great looking homes. Great looking layout. And then they've done a good job with that lead capture, portion of it.
Simple to use lead capture, right? You only have to fill in the basic information. That kind of stuff all plays a part.
I got you. Get more registration. At the end of the day, you're trying to capture folks, right? Trying to capture them, tease them a little bit, and then have that capture implementation, come in, right?
Yeah. And a lot of people too, we get the question of should I set the lead capture to 3 or 4? People don't like forced lead capture. Yeah, maybe some don't, but if you don't have one at all, you're not going to get any leads.
Correct.
Right? We've done this testing many times. And unless you're getting a lot of organic traffic, and you might get a few more, maybe 5, 10, 15, and it could be worth it. But you always want to set that at 1 or 0, depending on what platform, so it shows up right away. Put
It's like,
put your cards out, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're here to capture information. If you don't like it, see ya.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. That's really important. And because those are the building blocks to have like a successful, pay-per-click campaign. And let's talk a little bit more about SEO. What are those building blocks, right? Because you mentioned at the beginning, it's the content. It is connecting to sites with authority, trying to link to them, like backlinks into your website. How much content does it take to can you give us like an example or a case study? It's like a blog, like 8 blogs a day, or what are we when we're talking about generating a content strategy that's going to get noticed by Google for a certain set of keywords,
right?
How much effort are we talking about? You mentioned it can take up to a year. I totally understand that, but what kind of effort does it look like on like a day-to-day basis? I'm curious about that, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly factors involved. Where you are, do you already have authority, all that kind of stuff.
Competition, competition.
Competition, right? If you're in a very rural area, a lot of agent or versus a lot of agents, all that plays in a part. So there's never you should do this and you will get that, other than over a larger period of time. And the other thing too is quantity is fine, quality is more important, right? You'd rather make one extremely good blog per month than try to do one a day, right? So, or even one a week. You really want to focus on the quality of it, because a lot of people are spitting out very mediocre blogs, especially with AI, right? Where you can just ask ChatGPT to create a blog about moving to, and they're all going to really kind of look the same. So if you want to stand out among the crowd, you really need to focus on your research, your images, your CTAs, your internal links. Like getting backlinks to those blogs would be amazing. Just writing something that you are actually very proud of is much better. So that's what I would say is to focus on. I mean, the more you can do, the better, but just maintain the quality. I know that doesn't give you like a specific number.
But
I can't really tell you one.
Yeah, because because the real answer is the engineering answer, which is it depends, right? That it can that's the real answer. It kind of depends. But there is a balance always of quality, versus quantity, and I think that's really interesting the way you kind of laid that out. How has AI impacted your agency, if at all? Because you mentioned now, I mean, I'll be honest, I've done this myself. I've created a lot of blog, especially blogs, because they're kind of, I mean, not easy to write, right? They can be, sometimes you want some ideas. You want something, you want a little helper, a little AI helper, helping you out with a little bit of that, either to form ideas or to structure the blog post. How has that impacted you guys? Are you doing way less of that because of AI tools? Are you doing way more because they're just so bad? What do you think how do you think it's impacted you guys so far?
Yeah, I mean, we use AI in some capacity for sure. We use it to get ideas. You can use it for some on-page optimization or keyword implementation, um, coding, that type of thing.
Cool.
So it's certainly social media posts it can be great for. You're not trying to rank for social media posts, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it certainly has its place. I just would be careful using it to write an entire blog and then taking that blog and posting it and expecting yourself to rank. There's studies been done between human writers versus AI, and this is only one study, but the human writer was outranked the AI majority of the time. It would always show up higher.
Got it. Got it. Even though you could crank out probably way more
But again, it's that
AI
quality
blogs.
piece,
Of
right?
course, right?
I mean,
100%.
if you want to, we obviously have a lot of clients with great, really good examples of real estate and blogs and high quality. Brian Dean at Backlinko, like check out his blogs, and they are like, it's all so much quality. And he just puts out these massive blogs and he ranks top three every time.
Got it. Got it. Because, he's going out there and he's bringing the fire. It's something people want to read. Would you describe that? Like, a good blog. It's something people want to read. They find it valuable, hence link to it, hence share it, hence, go back to it and read it.
It's also about design, right? Just slapping a blog on a bunch of content. Not many people, it could be the greatest blog in the world. But if it's just content and like paragraphs, I mean, you got to have images in there. You got to have call to actions from what you actually want these people to do. It's got to look good. So that's another component of it, right? Like UX. How much time someone spends on a website is an indicator for SEO, like how Google ranks you.
Got it. Got it.
Again, there's tons of other factors. It's called dwell time.
Dwell time. How much are actually time spending, on the website, not just, oh, this is not the one I want. Go back, right?
Right.
Oh, not the one, not the one, not the one. Oh, I really like this one. So they can measure that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And Philip, this whole I've been in the industry long enough to remember the days of the keyword stuffing. And then suddenly, and I forget which one of these bird named Google updates came out, or animal named Google updates came out.
Penguin.
That,
I don't.
yeah, one of those. Panda. It was like panda or penguin or something with a P, pony, or it was one of those big P named animal updates. They kind of really changed things, and the focus shifted more towards quality, right? So instead of like more of these, I don't know if they were like black hat or kind of hacks.
Yeah, it's what they would be considered.
SEO. Yeah, and the keyword stuffing is one of them. I remember there was many of them, and I remember I was in the industry. I a lot of marketers that I knew lost their business. Like they went out of business. They were black hat, hackers for SEO, and suddenly, literally from one day to the next, that was gone, right? And there's more to it than that because it was blogs and affiliates. There was a lot of things going on. But they really changed it, right? They really changed it, and it was different. And is that how it happened? That was my perception. Is that your perception too? That it went from the hacks and the quant to the quality? And are we just continuously going on that scale, or do you see things changing?
Yeah, I mean that's when it comes down to it. People always ask me too a lot, like what's changed in SEO, and there's always like minor things that change for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, you are just trying to make the best user experience possible for your viewer, right? For the visitor. So that means great content. And then, of course, you want to promote your website as much as you can. But really, at the end of the day, you're just trying to create a great product. And then SEO just naturally comes out of that.
Got it. But that is something that's evolved, because it wasn't that at the beginning. It wasn't looking.
No, it wasn't.
One.
I mean,
it was looking for the best
link farms and schemes and
quantitative part of it. Like how many links? Okay, great, you win, right? It was like a math algorithm, right? So
yeah, and there's always going to be people who do that, but it's just short term, right? It's short term thinking. You're going to be, maybe you rank high right now, but another update comes and you're gone. It's the people who just focus on the user are going to last.
Got it. I love that.
That's always got to be the core.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And anything you do really in business. It's not just an SEO thing.
if you because I think the consumer savvy, if only getting savvier, right? We're talking about people that are online. People have been online for a couple decades now, probably actually almost 30 years in some countries, right? So they've experienced this or seen this, or they're native to these platforms. They grew up with these platforms, right? So you're seeing more savvier and savvier consumers that are kind of want to demand more, right? They don't want to be sold to. They don't want to be sold to. They
Right.
want
They
to
want
be
information,
they want information. They want to be entertained. They
value.
want to be, there's the expectation kind of keeps going up and up. And yeah, the business or the agent, the team that takes a value-based approach. How do I help my potential buyer? How do I help my potential seller? I think I agree with you 100%. And if you can see that in their content, if you can see that in their socials, you can see that in how the team presents itself. That is a really great sweet spot to win with that kind of a consumer, to win and win with them long term. One last question, Philip. A
Sure.
lot of people ask this, right? They go, yeah, I want to try Google, but I want sellers, right? I'm sure you get this question all the time. Yeah, Philip, I got plenty of buyers. They're falling off well, maybe not now anymore, but they were falling
Yeah.
off the trees, a few months ago, maybe. But how do you deal with that request? I want leads. I want to do Google pay-per-click. I want to do it all. I want to do SEO, but I only want sellers. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, that's a good one. And obviously, like I said before, buyers are definitely easier to come by because of the mass volume of the searches. And we also discussed the sellers come from buyers as well. And in terms of local service ads, again, you can get those listing agents, right? Those are buyers and sellers. They're typing real estate agent near me. Google Business, again, you can kind of get both. It's not strictly, but it's a good strategy. There is the going after the keywords like listing agent, selling agent. Again, it's a bigger investment to go after. And then there's the what's my home worth, right? That's a pretty classic seller lead gen. You can do that both on Facebook and Google Ads. Those are kind of those are the ways that we approach people with some seller strategies. There's no we haven't found it. There's no golden ticket to create a bunch of seller leads for low cost. And
yeah, that's been my experience. I get to see this equation play out on the conversion side. We're an ISA company. We call leads, right? And I think probably our biggest Facebook campaign we ever had probably had to be in the 15 to 20,000 leads a month range. Large team, very large team, I say. So we saw a lot of different campaigns, a lot of different ads within that project. And you'd always see a minority of them, not a lot, but a minority of them were seller focused ads. Home, like the ones you described, home valuation. It was mostly home valuation. I think it was probably more, at least on Facebook.
It's the most popular one.
The more popular one, right?
Which
it always had the highest cost per lead, at least on the Facebook side. Always was the most expensive lead to generate, and the one that almost consistently converted the least. It seemed like to appointment, to something actionable, right? In the next 90 days, in the next 6 months, it was a combination of high cost and very, very low conversion rate, which is not a good combo, man. I don't know if that's been your experience on the Google side, but on the Facebook side, I'm like, yikes. I've been burned enough times to go. The best seller is also a buyer. Look for buyers, right, and figure it out that way.
Yeah. It is generally it's still a longer nurture. Yeah. It can still be a year out, right? Real estate's a long buying cycle. Yeah. I think with home vals, I do know of people that are very successful with it. I do know of other strategies, of specific strategies within Facebook too. You can actually upload a custom audience. So you grab an audience of a specific community. So it's got to be big enough. But there's ways to get all of those people's addresses and names and phone numbers, upload that list to Facebook and have a super hyper-focused ad. I know someone that does that at a very high level. And it's actually those cost per leads is fairly low. You just have to have enough communities within your area to run it. But again, I think people give up on them probably a little bit too easily.
Yeah.
I think it still needs that nurture. So I think we run into the issue of the quality which is like the difference is basically just time for a lot of these people. We think it's a bad lead because they're not closing now, but actually in a year from now, it's going to be a great lead.
Yeah, 100%.
They're ready to close.
I hadn't heard it described as succinctly, right? The lead is good, the lead is bad. It's just a function of time. It's a it's a value of T, right? For that equation. What is time in that moment? And whoever understands that, which means it's a nurture game, it's a nurture and follow-up game, is going to be able to reap the rewards, right? That's always true for online leads. I think it's always true.
100%.
It's particularly true for real estate and real estate sellers, because that how much is my home worth is a very early signal for people that want to sell their home. It's a very, and there's also, in my experience, a lot of overlap, because I'm a homeowner. I want to know how much my home is worth, right? Because the market's up, because the market's down, because my neighbor sold, because I couldn't sell. Because I always want to know the value of my home. Like, why wouldn't I want to know the value of my home? So that is, there's a lot of overlap, a lot of challenges in that kind of lead generation. But you're right, 100%. Dialing it in the right way, you can definitely get better results. But a lot of agents, you're right. I think they drop the towel because it is a harder lead to convert. So Philip, this has been a pure joy. It's been a really, really fun conversation because you're super knowledgeable, and that makes this a lot more fun than someone that isn't. If people want to continue this conversation with you, right, learn more about how it is you do what you do, either SEO or Google Business Profile or Google Pay-Per-Click or anything and everything, the best CRMs, how to find them, what is the best way for people to reach out and continue the conversation?
Yeah. So you can go check out our website. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us and just learn a little more about us. So it's asteriskmarketing.co. It's just .co. You can just jump into Google, type in Asterisk Marketing. That's probably the easiest one. You can just search my name in Google. It should bring it up. Philip Pasma. That would probably be the best way of doing it. I mean, I can drop my email address in here too if anyone wants to.
We'll drop a link. We'll drop a link to Asterisk.
Yeah, drop a link. You can look me up on Facebook. We have a Facebook group, Real Estate Marketing. You can also join. Couple ways to get in touch.
We'll drop the link to the website and to the Facebook group. It's a very active Facebook group. I've been on there, helping people out. It's a really good group too. You guys should check it out. If you like, what you heard today, because Philip kind of knows what he's talking about. I think that's cool. Find out what else he knows, right? What else he knows about. So you can check him out at that Facebook group. So Philip, man, I appreciate you. This has been awesome. And hopefully we'll have you back on the next one. Let's see what else we talk about on the next one.
There's lots to talk about. I appreciate it, Gus. Thanks for having me.